What up, though? And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in the world. It is I, John D, a.k.a. Too Much, and my wife,
Kanika,
a.k.a.
dude.
And we are doing too much. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. You?
I'm doing well also. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year. Usually I'm sipping, so like.
You know, this was, I had to answer a question this morning. It was like my favorite memory, and it was last night. And I can tell you, like, the gifts, she got us gifts. It was like 1,000 things about me or something like that. And she had already started her own, but to watch the participation with the kids, it's like all kind of questions or scenarios, like one sentence, few words, and you just got to come up with something, and then you share it with the family. And to watch them engage in it, like I felt like that was my favorite memory ever, because I feel like that's going to be like something that just we do from now on to make sure, because, you know, what did Dallas say? He said, it's like we got to do this every year because these things are always going to change.
Oh, yeah. But I think I was, I did start mine 2 years ago, and I really like to look back at where I was then. What I would say was my greatest fear, what I would say was the person who was the person that I would want to, you know, have dinner with or whatever the case may be. You go back and you look and you're like, wow, I was going through this, and I see how that impacted my response. So,
yeah, and you know, I'm so excited to see how much your answers are going to change over the years too. Like, I just think about some of the ones I heard last night. I was like, she can't possibly feel that way today, because she had already completed some of the answers. So just listening to him, I was like, man. And then, like, I'm just looking forward to, like, changing whatever that looks like. And it made last night, it just gave me, like, I was thinking about, it was so many people that was just getting started, and we was closing down around 9:30. 10 o'clock or something.
we were. I told everybody we go out to dinner for New Year's Eve. And when we got home, we stuck around, but we were gone. We dispersed by like 9:30. Oh, did we stay up a little? I don't know. But Dallas, he said he was staying up and he was finishing the sparkling champagne. Yeah, it's a lot different from the New Year's that I've experienced with my parents. We would watch the ball drop, which it's weird now because I don't know any of the artists for the ball, you know, those performances or anything. It doesn't even interest me. But we used to watch the ball drop, have sparkling champagne and shrimp with cocktail sauce.
You know, I do recall those things. But, you know, I guess the reason why it doesn't interest us as much is because most of us can't stay up that late.
Yeah, we can't. Look, Day was ready to roll up out that mug. So John got up for a second. Day came over and did her whelp. She came over and hugged me quietly. Dallas said, no, Day, you can't leave. She just started laughing. She was gone. She was leaving. She was like, okay, we had enough conversation. It's time for me to go to bed.
But I enjoyed it. Also, this is one of those father moments when I was like, yes. It was like, what's one thing that I want to change this year? And that was, I want to change how my kids respond to me, because of if they do something that's questionably, like they could get in trouble. And if they look at me, it's more so like a scornful, like, oh, he's going to open his mouth. And I don't want them to feel like that I'm coming down on them. And so I don't want him to feel shut down. And then he said, that's what I want this year. I don't want to feel like you're going to do that because I don't want to do that anymore. And I was like, it made me feel real good because I was just like, at least he knows that, it sounds in a way where it makes him want to shut down because of my behavior before. But he knows that I just want him to get the message or the lesson so he can grow. Mm-hmm. And instead of it sounding like that old school father, like do as I say. And that's how he typically is because, when Kanika delivers a message, he's more open to whatever she has to say versus me because of my tone and the cadence of it sounds very like an attack. Mm. And trying to remove that so that he doesn't have to feel that way, it has been a journey. But to hear him say that, it made me feel like he understands what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So, what did you get out of last night? Because I felt like, I just felt like we grew as a family, and I felt like they enjoyed what we were doing.
Yeah. I think the only thing I really got from last night is just a few more answers from the 14-year-old and 15-year-old day in Dallas to learn a little bit more about them. And it made me more hopeful or excited about later on when we, sit down and ask these questions and answer it. Because it's really interesting. Oh, one of the questions was, how are you different from your parents? And I really want to see, like, I don't really know what did they say? I know what I said. I know what you said. But did they ever really answer that?
Oh, it's a disappointment right now. You put me on the spot.
Well, I don't remember either because I don't.
I think that I was looking forward to that answer too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Dallas kept skirting to another question that he liked better. But he offered that question. I think there are certain questions in there that really made me think about my interaction with my parents and how it impacted me. I'm really interested in Day and Dallas's answers because they're so honest. They don't see a need to like spare your feelings because we're always trying to dig.
Well, I think Dallas has more of a conscience when it comes to trying because he doesn't. But Day, she will just give it to you raw.
She will. Yeah, so I look forward to that. And a lot of Day's answers were being in her room, and being in her room. So I definitely want to pull that out. That's something I learned is that I need to be the one to drag her out of the house. I mean, we all can, but you know what it was last night? I was kind of mad at you because we had a conversation before about Dallas, and when we discussed it with Dallas and how the scales are a little bit different in how I treat him versus you and why, I felt like you framed it as far as favoritism today. And
that wasn't what I was trying to, and I was trying, I guess it didn't sound like that to me.
So I don't know if we had this conversation before, but we were talking about how, did we have this conversation on here? So John always says that I treat Dallas differently than Day, which I do. But it's a reason. So when we were younger, Dallas was very attached to me. He was a breastfed baby. And John wanted Dallas to immediately like be able to just leave me and go with him, like be excited to go with him. But Dallas wasn't like he was just attached. And so John, he started like, well, forget him then kind of attitude. And it made me feel like, dang, I didn't want that for them. Dallas looks just like him. And I was like, this is going to be a little John, and he's going to love to be around his dad. And as soon as John kind of took it that way, I could feel like it wasn't ever really going to be what I thought it was going to be. And so I started, if John and I are giving Day 50-50, and I perceived that John was going to be giving Dallas 30, then I started giving him 70. And it wasn't Like, I adored Day. I used to dress her up as my little baby doll. That was my baby. But I felt like I had to overcompensate for what I thought Dallas wasn't going to get from his dad. And I know that you and Day, like, she was in love with you no matter what. And I wanted the same thing, but it just felt like it wasn't going to be. And so we were talking about that and discussing it with Dallas because we needed Dallas to understand his relationship with me, his relationship with his dad, and how we needed to start making a shift. And with Day, there was the conversation, and when it was framed, it was like, your mom plays favorites. She does favoritism with Dallas. And the way Day looked, like, I had to say, no, that's not what it is. It's this. But the conversation already took that feel. And I was like,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then that made me feel like I have to.
Did we recover?
I think we moved to something else. But I don't think.
Yeah, we need to go back into that.
Yeah. Because I really don't want her to feel.
Slighted.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of me being able to not being clear and concise.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a struggle for me.
Oh, I am so sorry.
That's okay. But yeah, I do want to correct it though. But that kind of bothered me yesterday, and I was like, okay, that wasn't even, and then it just kept going. When you don't want somebody to talk about something, and then the mug just keeps going, and you think the conversation can end, and they'll be like, but favoritism. Please stop. So we got
so
past
sorry.
it. We moved into something else, but
See, so just to let you guys out there to know, that's another reason why I'm working on my communication, because I don't want any missed messages where it could lead to something that we can't see in the future that we kind of just moved on. So we need to communicate better so that those messages don't happen, because, I guess a lot of the messages I see with families, you see it was one incident that was isolated, but it stayed with somebody else for the rest of their life. And you don't find out until years later, but all you remember is all the wonderful things, but that person only remembers this one isolated incident that maybe, whatever, the ignorance that you had to feel like you don't know you did it, because a lot of times when things happen, the person who's getting hurt, they believe the person did it on purpose. And if they don't have enough information, you're going to take the worst way to look at it, because you didn't like the way you felt. And that was the worst feeling ever. So it compounds. So I think we need to do a better job with being able to express our boundaries. And I don't think we do that enough. I don't think we know how, because if our parents went through it, they believe that your kids are supposed to go through it, and they don't understand that some things your kids don't ever have to experience.
No, they don't. You're going to have to go through it. No, actually, I don't.
Yeah, we're supposed to be making better people, and we was like, you got to have this experience. But are you doing sometimes? And I'm not saying that I know which experiences you're supposed to do, and I don't want to get anybody lost in what I'm trying to say. I just feel like we have to actually think about some of the practices we're doing if we want our kids to do better, because some of these practices we are doing are out of date. And if we knew how to communicate effectively, because at the end of the day, we just want our kids to get the message, right?
Right.
That's it. We just want them to get the message. And sometimes we believe that if we whoop them hard enough, that they won't do it again. But if you don't explain, why they shouldn't do it, they're probably going to do it again in another situation. And you want things to you want to work on your parenting through making sure they understand why they shouldn't do it again. Because if they do it again, it's because they missed the message. You think they was like, you know what? I'm going to miss all of the she's talking about, and I'm going to go mess up so that she can yell at me.
Well, and then that brought about we had a lot of examples with the kids about how we discipline changed over time. But one of the things that it's always pretty much been is like when a child does something the first time, they don't know. So I remember when a kid does something, people would immediately whoop them and be like, okay, well, then they going to learn not to do it again. You really don't have to. Like the first time they didn't know they shouldn't do it. So they shouldn't get that type of punishment. They really should get a discussion. And then after that, you would get punished, whatever the punishment may be. It doesn't have to be physical. It could be having to go to your room or look, we were talking about all the different ways we punish Day and Alice. Like taking all their toys out of their room or making them stand in the corner. That was old school. Dallas wasn't listening to an adult. So John came in one day. It completely confused him. He just kept telling him to do different things. Sit down, stand in the closet, come out, put your arms up. And he was like, you need to learn how to listen to adults. Like, follow instructions. Dallas was like, what's happening? But I mean, we weren't always, we definitely started off like our parents and we were whooping parents. We did believe that. But we always believed the first time that they shouldn't get punished because they didn't know. But after a while, our punishments became more creative in order to make the kids have to think about what's happening rather than like having some traumatic ending to something that they did, That was hard.
I just remembered I was telling somebody, can't recall who it was, about a way that I parented. I remember we were walking down the street and the kids were walking on the curb. And I was like, hey, if you fall, it's going to hurt. And I didn't tell them not to do it because I remember when I was little, my father would tell me not to do something. But when you're a kid, you don't know why they told you not to. And you go back doing it, right? Mm-hmm. So now I didn't follow directions. Now I hurt myself. Now I'm getting scolded when I'm hurting. I'm getting a whooping.
Didn't I tell you?
Yeah, like I've disappointed him and I didn't get the message still.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But this is what I wanted you to see what I did. When I told my kids the possible consequence if they continued to walk on this, they made a decision to not walk on it. Because this is where I looked at it. If they hurt themselves, I have to be a parent and be like, oh, dang, are you okay? And I don't want to be like, didn't I tell you?
John be sounding like he should say jive turkey when he yells at the kids. When he yells at the dogs, everything sounds like you jive turkey.
He's so silly.
He does. But yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so what I wanted to do was create a level of accountability. And I knew that I was doing that too that day. In my head, I was like, this is a cold move because this will reduce the power because if you tell your kids not to do something and they do it, you're mad because they didn't follow the direction, but you don't realize they didn't understand the message because they did it anyway. So it was just you giving giving bad information. And you know what I realized yesterday is this is how we give bad information. You taught me this, but when you talk to your kids, you're supposed to use age-appropriate words. A lot of times we use our entire life dictionary that we used in our experiences and talk to our kids. And we talk to them like they are adults that lived our lives. And along this translation, they got some mistakes because they didn't understand everything that was given. They just kind of guesstimated what you said.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, just think about that.
Don't.
What kid says, I can't wait to disappoint my parents tomorrow?
No, but I think sometimes they do. And we all know this. Sometimes they feel like it's not going to happen to them. I remember I took Day in Dallas to the park. And you remember those swings where the little baby swings, you had to put your legs in. That was the only swing that was open. So Dallas asked me to put him in there. Now, Dallas was a big boy at this time, but he wasn't super big. So I put him in there and I said, now, don't try to get out on your own. Tell me when you're ready to get out. And so Dallas tries to get out on his own. When he gets out, his shoe gets caught and he's hanging upside down by his leg. And he's not crying, but he's like, Mommy. And I was like, didn't I tell you not to get out by yourself? And I'm laughing at him and he's laughing. And I said, you got to figure out how to get yourself out. So then he's swinging around and he finally gets his hand somewhere where he can push up and get his foot out. But it made me laugh because I was like, you know how many things we like got into without any parent supervision and we had to figure our way out. But I was very big with, you know, babying Dallas and, they used to fall all the time. So like, you know, run into her rescue or Day, watch out, don't do that. And it was one of those moments where he wasn't distressed, but I was like, you need to learn some problem solving skills because I already told you don't do this. So when you decide to go against me, how are you going to get out of it? How are you going to figure it out? And it was so funny seeing him really try to concentrate, and I'm rolling. And in the park, it's all kind of parents and kids running around, but I'm just like watching him, and he gets himself out, and he just starts laughing, and he runs off and goes on about his business. But it probably should have been reinforced multiple times after that. But I thought it was so funny to say, okay, so you went against what I said. Now what are you going to do? But, you know, parenting is fun.
Definitely. I mean, at least I feel I have more fun doing it now because I'm more conscious of, I guess, what my intentions are. Mm-hmm. So it's like I want to only give the most positive behaviors or whatnot. But, you know, just listening to your stories, I'm going to just tell you how disappointed I am in fact that I miss so much of my family's life. Like, you have so many different stories that I'm nowhere in the picture. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it's you don't know that you're doing that. You know, especially if nobody told you, hey, you know, this is the reason why you should probably do as much with your family as possible because people are going to create memories with them, with you or without you. And you would rather want to create them with them. Yeah. And like now, like I wonder if I was an older man and I didn't do what now I recognize. Because what did I tell you? I was like, if you three are anywhere together, I will be right there.
He did. He did. He was like, wherever y'all are going to be, that's where I want to be.
Look, there's no way that they're going to create any type of conversations that exist and I'm not, you know, within why was I right there? Because I feel like I missed so many great moments that because I just was just moving and doing too much. But it wasn't that I was doing it. I thought that's how I was supposed to live. I had no idea that, you know, majority of my kids' memories were going to be 90% with a Kanika. Like,
look, some great memories. But yeah, I think I felt that. What was the other day out? We were going through pictures, and I think I was trying to show you a picture on Facebook, and then I just started flipping through different pictures that we had, and it was lopsided. Yeah. And but I mean, you know, not anymore.
Yeah, not well, you know, I'm so blessed that they're young enough where I can make a significant impact still on me. Yeah. Because when you know like what your intentions are, it's a lot easier to make sure that you don't miss those moments anymore. But just imagine like adults with their kids already gone, I was telling on Growing Man, like imagine how much you actually talk to your kids in a day. Like just without dinner, just how much. And I was like, it's got to be less than an hour. Mm-hmm. Like there's another 23 hours that's influencing your kids. And if you're not a good communicator, your kids have no idea what message they're supposed to follow. Yeah. But if you want to become a better parent, you're going to have to actively engage with them. And I was like, we're less than an hour. Like, I feel like we see them and we have like I think that the conversations we have are meaningful, but if you think about it, it's less than an hour total.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what's enough, but I do know that. Yeah. So I'm just thinking, like, if it's so much time that's influencing our kids, what do you think we should do to like increase safety, making sure they're on the right path? I do believe that some of their answers that they give make me feel that they understand and they'll make sound decisions. But I don't ever want to get too comfortable where we're not being parents.
Yeah, of course not. When you said all of this time that we're not even spending an hour with the kids, I remember telling you, when you take out the 8 hours you sleep, supposedly, and the 8 hours you're working or at school, you have 960 minutes left in the day. And you didn't find 60 of them 960 to talk with your kids. It seems weird. I guess, over time, between dinner and passing and them talking to us about like homework or whatever, it comes to something. But what am I doing with them other 900 minutes? What 900 plus minutes?
Yeah, that's because the reason why I thought about it, I was like, because I feel like our kids they're where I would like them to be. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are other areas that I wish they could improve in, but when I was trying to calculate, like, I feel like our kids are where I feel like they need to be. When I say that, I mean, like, I'm comfortable with certain areas of their life where I'm like, I feel like we're on the right path. They might be a lot more advanced than other kids in their age group. Okay. I feel like if we're not even doing an hour, like, I think we need to probably, well, I guess, it's got to be more than an hour because we do different things with the kid throughout the week where it surpasses that. So I was just thinking, like, over this break, I guess that's what I was doing because, they've disappeared and we allowed them to disappear too. Yeah. But I guess we do spend over an hour then. And that's outside of sitting down to eat. But I guess ultimately I want them to take things that they think were successful in them developing so that their kids they can be like, you just don't know. Like if our kids ever tell their kids, you don't know how I had it when I was.
Oh my God. What would that be?
That's what I'm saying. I want to like, that's what I said. I want to live a little longer.
What's your gripe?
So I can hear what it sounds like because I don't know what that looks like. And I'm willing to change my daily habits to see what that looks like because I feel like we are the ones, we ended the struggle. There are no reasons why anybody else in our family should say, back in my time, my parent, like, it's different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like I want to know, what does that human look like?
Yeah. What are those grandkids going to have to
endure?
How will they be raised? What will they have to endure? And what are the messages that are going to come to them from Day in Dallas?
Yeah. And that's going to be interesting to say the least. Like, but I'm excited about it because I want people to know, like, you guys can become better parents, like, today. Like, just let's make it happen. Like, you gotta be purposeful with it because I think a lot of times we feel like since we learned it without our parents that we're gonna let our kids learn it without us. But you weren't right on a lot of the things that you did by yourself. But anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
Day in Dallas. Let's see what they give me this year. I definitely loved over the last couple of weeks looking at memories we've had, talking about it, even listening. Last night, Day recounted a really bad memory she had with Dallas that I didn't even remember. And at the time it took place, I know I was really, really distracted with things I was struggling with. But her response, it really, really put back into my mind, like, I know that I'm a human and I go through things and I have to handle myself. But they only have so long with me. But I need both of them to know that, I'm aware and I'm watching them this year and I want to support them and build them up this year. I'm going to be more aware of what's going on with them this year. And I hope, I mean, they're flourishing and they have like goals for this year. I look forward to seeing them. So shout out to Day in Dallas because I'm watching all year and I'm excited for what they're going to do.
For sure. I'm going to give a shout out to all the parents who intentionally try to get better. Not like everybody can get better. Nobody has the blueprint. Like everybody can lead by example, and you can actually talk about it with your friends to see what they're doing so that you can become a better parent. I feel like if we competed more with each other and just trying to raise better kids, that the level of competition would look different. And those of you that have figured it out with you just want to raise better kids, kudos to y'all. And kudos to the kids that have parents that are intentionally dodging the accountability portion of being a parent. Like, look, somebody has to break the cycle. And if you walking around here not thinking that that's your responsibility, I pray that you receive some type of message so that you can help your family flourish in the direction that they're supposed to go in. I know a lot of people don't know that they're responsible for these things, and it wasn't your fault. But if you can hear, you need to receive the message and change the trajectory of your family by doing better, because they're watching. And to break a cycle, it takes a very strong person. And then unless you know that you're the person that's supposed to do it, you got to believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, then you're hoping that your kids figure it out. And you know it's ugly out there without the right resources. So you got to lay it down for your family and be great on purpose. Boom.
Look, that video would be like fade in, fade out to stuff. Bodies would be in so many different directions.